Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, to have a discussion on this, for having allowed me to have a discussion on this bill on epidemic diseases amendment bill. Noam Chomsky, the celebrated linguist and activist, has recently warned, we are at an astonishing confluence of very severe crises. He enlisted three such crises. The growing threat of nuclear war, which is probably more severe than it was during the Cold War, the growing threat of environmental catastrophe, and the third thing that they have been picking up for the last few years is a sharp deterioration of democracy. So, in this pandemic, the latter two have reached its worst from worst. In India, this has been further propelled and geared up by the catastrophic loss to environment like the EIA 2020, anti-democratic, anti-federal laws like CAA, NRC, and more recently the NEP. The world has seen so many pandemics and epidemics, sir, from the bubonic plague in the 1300s to the Spanish flu in the 1900s and SARS epidemic. And in all these plagues, the leaders came out to the streets together to guide their people and not to pass draconian ordinances and amendments in the empty bowels of the poor people. Only this government does it. So before plunging into the discussion on this bill, I would like to state how unprepared India is to combat this crisis. The COVID-19 crisis could have been handled well in India if the action packages of the global health security agenda started in 2014, of which India is a participant, had been implemented effectively. Also, we lost the golden hours of prevention when the government, the Prime Minister, was busy hosting Trump. Sir, our ancient point, Thiruvalluvar has rightly remarked, Varumunnar Kavadan Valkai Yerimunnar Vaituru Pola Kedum, meaning the prosperity of him who does not timely guard against the falls will perish like the straw before the fire. In brief, prevention is better than cure, but the government didn't take the cue and had lost so many battlegrounds. Despite receiving grants from the US Center for Disease Control, India is yet to fill the gaps to combat the present crisis. Amidst this raging pandemic, when the nation is under severe social economic crisis, with 122 million Indians losing their jobs in April alone, the BJP government has prioritized passing ordinances and amendments. Sir, this amendment is promulgated at a time when crores of our students were pleading the government to delay NEET. Sir, back home in Tamil Nadu, we have lost so many lives for this draconian NEET examination. Sir, Dr. Johnson, a famous English literary person, when he declared that he would compile an English dictionary within 3 years, all alone, all critics wondered, how can you do it when 40 Frenchmen took 40 years to compile a dictionary? How would you do it within 3 years? He replied, an Englishman is equivalent to 40 Frenchmen. An Indian medical student, Indian doctor is equivalent to 40 European doctors, but you have severed their progress by bringing this NEET examination. That's why our party leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin, vehemently opposes it. And when Dr. Kalaignar was the chief minister, irrespective of this entrance exams, the board examinations were taken into account, and that's how even now the US has been discussing whether standardized tests like the SAT should be used at all in the deciding administrations. Now coming into this bill, sir, just 2 minutes, sir. Coming into this bill, my faith only lies in the will of the Indian people. The amendment bill under clause 1A clearly states the violence or damage is to be during an academic. So what will happen if the academic ends? So the life of the frontline warriors as well as the nurses, police personnel has to be ensured even after the endemic. And there are a few lacunas, sir. Epidemic Act 1897 is silent on the definition of dangerous epidemic diseases. So, now, since it is a colonial act, issues like restricting international travel, especially the use of air travel relating to sea travel, increased migration, higher density, all these areas remain still a grey area, and the bill has to specifically clarify the act, whether it is too ship-oriented and quiet on air travel. Sir, 1 minute, I'm the only speaker.
Yes.
Sir, again, there is no classification of these words, lethal or infectious or contagious diseases, it has to be clearly stated. There are no stages, no differentiation, nothing. It has been left to the whims and fancy of the government. And one more thing, sir, regarding the vaccination, the act and the bill both fail to mention the priority for vaccination against COVID. Whether the government has any standards to decide which state, districts or individuals should get priority. Also, sir, to conclude, this has also surpassed the state rights, because state implementation of a central law is not possible, since the area of health, including protection of doctors, is a state subject, meaning only states have the power to frame and pass laws related to it. So this is also still a grey area. Sir, the conclusion, finally, sir, the last thing, a Chinese woman too, you earned the Nobel Prize in 2015 for her work in creating anti-malaria medicine using ancient Chinese remedies. Why not Indian doctors using the Indian medicines can get a vaccine for this COVID, and the government should concentrate in promoting research and encouraging them rather than feeding peacocks and lounging complacently on the acts of God. The government should realize that the purpose of the government is to enable the people.
Honorable Member Sri Kalyan Banerjee.
Sir, please, Sumati ji, Honorable Member, please conclude in 1 minute. 1 minute.
As to oppose these two bills, the Indian Medicine Central Council Bill 2020 and the Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Bill 2020, my objections regarding the first bill is, sir, this bill is a direct assault on the states' rights. This bill is one in the line of the many of the other acts that this government has introduced to appropriate more power to itself under its one nation, one policy. So the Council for Indian Medicine, CCIM, which this bill seeks to dissolve, was a democratic body constituted by the Indian Parliament, where the states were represented through elected members and were able to rule out problems associated with the ISM system. However, now owing to the Class 3A, members will now be nominated by the central government, and this democratic system will come to an end. Sir, again, even the standing committee had recognized the specific healthcare issues and challenges of every state. How can this bill address these specific state issues? This council is being replaced by, when it is replaced by bureaucrats. As has been said by fellow members, dear Honorable Member Dr. Shashi Tharoor, I must reiterate that we must give importance to the fact that health is a state subject, medical education is a concurrent subject. You have to give equal responsibility to the states in this arena. Sir, I have again a suggestion. There are at present more than 200 Ayurveda colleges. There is a Central Council Research in Ayurveda and Siddha, and similar council for Unani and Homeopathy, Yoga and Naturopathy. These could have been clubbed together to make it an institution of national importance. So when coming to the Homeopathy bill, Tamil Nadu is a pioneering state in homeopathy system of medicine. In Tamil Nadu, there are 20,000 doctors registered in the council after passing the degree diploma from recognized homeopathy medical colleges in India and practicing, having a thoroughly successful practice. Though India is becoming the global cup of homeopathic education and training, what we see today is a progressive deterioration of quality due to myopic implementation of educational standards. So one thing, I see a greatest lacuna in this bill, that is, when our system is in such a grave situation, it is surprised how the National Medical Commission will allow practitioners of alternative medicines like homeopathy and Ayurveda to practice modern medicine after attending a short-term bridge course. This is a very grave lacuna, and I would like the minister to consider it. And I've got two requests since the minister is here. I would like to urge the union government through you, sir, to allocate ₹100 for the development of National Institute of Siddha in Chennai, and I request the government to create medicinal plants and herbal parks in Kolli Hills, Kutralam, Yelagiri Hills and Hokenagal in Tamil Nadu. I also urge the government through you, sir, to give more funds and free hand to state governments which create, govern and protect the AYUSH colleges and dispensaries in Tamil Nadu. Thank you very much, sir.